listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the LOZ Podcast Network. You are listening to us on KRMS Radio from 10 to 11 on Saturday morning, or you're watching us in the LOZ app Podcast Network, and you get to see our pretty faces in the Podcast Network, or you might just be hearing our voices. Either way, we want to bring you all the stuff going on at Lake of the Ozarks, and we talk to people all around the lake every week about different things going on, different events, and we talk to people about their businesses. And today I'm excited because we once again, we have these guys on, probably once a month because they're just so knowledgeable about the lake market. But we got Michael and Michelle Lasson from Team Lasson, Flat Branch Home Loans. Guys, how's it going?
Great, Ken. Great to hear from you, man.
Listen, we always have you guys on because you have so much really good info for the lake as far as lending. There's a lot of people that want to get into a home, get into a condo, and it's a different market. You want to make sure you have somebody local who understands the market, right?
Yes.
And you guys are seeing a lot of traction in spring already, right?
Absolutely. We had a tick down in rates for a little while, and it just made the buyers just buy. They're just writing contracts left and right. Rates have inched up a little bit because of some things that are going on, but they should tone back down and things are going to continue to go. We got a lot of people locked in and protected before they changed a little bit. And yeah, we're crazy busy actually.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, you guys are local experts. You do some things that not every lender is going to do. And I know that one of the big hot buttons has been the fact that these condos and the HOAs thing that are going on was a huge problem. People getting loans approved because of the HOA problems. And Michelle, you have actually gone after getting some of those turned back to approvals, right?
Yeah, we're working really hard with our boss and a couple of other underwriters in the company and trying to just get the HOAs on board with doing things right, with looking at their insurance and their budgets and their decks and bylaws and working on their lawsuits that are out there if they have any, and making sure they're on the right track so we can get them approved. A lot of the out-of-town lenders will just pull it up on Fannie's list and say, oh, nope, it's unavailable. We're not going to do it. Well, we'll dig into it a little farther and see what options we can do to get it done for our buyers.
Which is amazing. And I don't think a lot of lenders anywhere are going to go through that. It's not an easy thing to go uphill against Fannie Mae, but you guys have been successful already.
Yeah, we have a really good, strong success story that a week ago, a little more than a week ago, I was called by a frantic realtor saying that they need to close in a couple of weeks, and their buyer just got turned down on the condo, and they don't understand why. And I said, well, let us dig into it. And we dug into it, and I'm like, yeah, we can get this done. Well, today we were issued declare to close, and we're closing Monday. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, everyone's tickled to death. It was, number one, a fast closing. We got it done in about a little over 2 weeks, start to finish. So everyone's tickled to death about that. The seller's able to sell on time. The buyer's able to buy on time. And it was just the lack of understanding from an out-of-town lender that just doesn't understand what works. We didn't have to get anything extra from the HOA. They had it all done ready. We asked them what we normally ask for. They sent it to us. We didn't have them make any changes at all. The out-of-town lender just read it wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's the difference between someone who's used to dealing with the lake and understands what's going on down here and understands. I mean, we have a lot of condos. Let's face it. We probably have more condos per capita than most communities do. And you have to understand what goes on. And those HOAs are complicated. I know, Michelle, you keep kind of a running tab on every condo complex and the different things that go on. It's kind of like your own personal Bible on each of the condos. But what a value that is when someone comes in and they need to get a loan done on one of these developments. You kind of know the background and you know where to go, and it's nothing for you to get it done.
And we know if there's a problem and we know how to hit it head on and get it resolved.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the difference, guys, when you go to an out-of-town lender or you go to someone local, and particularly someone local like Team Lasson, who's been doing it for, I don't know, I always think you guys have been doing it for like 30 years, but you told me you're not that old. But how long has it been?
We're in our 25th year.
25 years. Holy cow. I mean, that is a major milestone for anybody to be in any business, much less the lending business at Lake of the Ozarks.
And we've only been married 27 years, so.
Go figure.
Right.
I was talking to Jason Whittle and Jeff Krantz the other day, and they do a lot of data at the lake, and they do a lot of data on homes. And these guys really crunch some numbers, and they were telling me some really interesting stuff about how the appreciation at the lake has been just amazing. over the last 5-7 years. And that, everybody, when you think about getting a loan, they're all watching rates, right? So it's 6.5. Oh, it just went down a quarter. It went up a quarter. And everybody's waiting to make that move based on a quarter of a rate or half of a rate, But the reality is, at Lake of the Ozarks in particular, because of the appreciation that's happening in this market, if you find a place that you love and you want to buy it and you like the price, don't let the rate stand in your way, because the appreciation alone is going to dwarf the amount of money that you might pay a little bit more or a little bit less on a monthly basis, right?
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I mean, everyone has a budget. There's no doubt. I mean, can we stretch those budgets or can we not? Some people come to us with a budget and we figure out that they're right. That's all they can afford. So rate makes a huge difference in that. So if that buyer, the rate drops by a point, man, now we're affordable. Now they can buy what they want. To another buyer that they watch rate to say, hey, I got a 6% rate, just to say it. I get that, but like you said, I mean, you buy the property now, and you just deal with the rate the way it is, because the rates will improve.
And they were talking numbers like 5 to 7% appreciation year over year at Lake of the Ozarks. I mean, you start doing the numbers on a $500,000 home at the lake or a $500,000 condo, which, let's face it, that's about the average right now. Particularly with a home on the water. I mean, you're going to be right there. And you're talking about a 5% appreciation a year. You're talking about major dollars in your pocket that you're accruing. And, a little rate difference here or there is not going to make the difference on that, but the appreciation.
Right. And then general scheme of things, the rate doesn't, because that's something the saying is, you date the rate, marry the property. And it makes a lot of sense. Because you could always change who you're dating. You marry, that's fine. You buy the house, you marry the house, you date the rate. When the rates change, we refinance you and get you into a lower rate, make the property a little more affordable.
Or you've been in one for 5 years. Now you got an extra $100,000 in equity.
Absolutely.
And you want to do some improvements to the house. Now you got a bucket of money there you didn't have before that you can utilize to do improvements on the place you love.
Right, which will increase the value once the improvements are done. So it's a win-win all the way around.
They can always pay extra on their principal each month too and buy themselves right out of that rate. So
yeah, there's all different tricks that you can do to make the numbers come out. But I think the lesson is, if you find a property that you love and you are good with the amount of money to pay for that property, get it. Don't let the rate stand in your way. The appreciation is going to dwarf any of the differences you're going to get on rate. And by the way, people, how many times have you heard it? Like, man, I wish I would have bought that 2 years ago. Man, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. Don't be a wish I would have. Make the move. It's a great market. It's getting even better. I mean, the popularity of the lake is going through the roof. We've now got major corporations coming in. Casinos are coming in, and you got the theme park, and you got the, all the different things that are happening at the new mall that they're redoing. It's going to get even more popular. And so if you own a home,
and wherever there's a hole, someone's building a house right now.
Yeah.
And second tier, lakefront, whatever. I'm not a licensed realtor, but I think we're running out of available lakefront. I mean, the numbers are definitely low. I mean, there's only so much lakefront. There's a lot of it, but you're running out of it. So the second tier is really popular right now.
Yeah, second tier is getting to be really popular, particularly like you go over to Portachima or into the villages where they've got a bunch of second tier lots of really nice views. Those are great. And really all around the lake, there's a ton of stuff going on. But I love the spring because everybody gets fired up. It's getting back to what I think is a normal market, which is it's a little seasonal now. You can kind of anticipate what's going to happen. This time of year, we know it's going to get busy. We know we're going to have action, and it is. And so that's exciting that I think a normal market's good for everybody, don't you?
I definitely agree. Boat shows kind of start the season. People kind of start getting a little antsy. But St. Patrick's Day Parade, man, that just launches our season. And without a doubt, I've been extremely busy this week with new clients and getting, current clients to the closing table. It's just been crazy this past week. And the weather's been weird. But, we're almost out of this cold spell. It's hopefully going to be warm now for a while.
Yeah, due to be 80 degrees this Saturday, so you'll probably see people on the water. We talk about it, and we talked about it at the boat show. But people that are ready to go, I mean, they need to get pre-approved, and that's a big feather in their cap when you can go and look for a property and you can put down an offer and also put down that I've been pre-approved, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a success story this week where there was a couple multiple offers on a property, and our client, my realtor's client, but they were mine too, was the only one that had pre-approval, and they got the property. And they weren't offering as much as the other guy was, but they have no idea what the other guy's doing. They haven't taken the steps to get pre-approved. Our guy did, and the seller liked that. So boom, we're under contract.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. Like, don't go out there, put an offer down, and then have the people accept an offer not knowing if you're going to be approved. If I see 3 offers on the table and 2 of them have pre-approvals, the third one's going away, no matter what the numbers are, because I don't want to mess around with this thing not going through. I want to make sure it's a solid deal. And how long does it take to get pre-approved? Does it take a couple days?
Not necessarily, and it just depends how complex the file is. But typically, the first initial pre-approval letter I could send out typically same day, within a couple hours.
So I mean, look, if you're coming down to the lake and you're going to look at properties, take the time, take an hour, call Mike, call Michelle, and get the pre-approval before you get down here, so that when you get in the car and start looking around, you've got that paper in your pocket that's going to really solidify you putting an offer down. And a lot of times that's what it takes. And you know what, if you want to get something done and you're the first offer in and it's a solid deal and you got a pre-approval, you got a really good chance of winning that offer.
And I will tell you that just a feather in our cap too is if you've got an offer with a pre-approval from a local lender versus another offer with a pre-approval from an out-of-town lender, that local realtor is going to look harder at that local lender because they're used to working with us and they know how well we do our jobs, and they know we're going to do everything we can to get their buyer to the table and their seller selling their property. So,
Michelle and I make an amazing team. There's no doubt, but we have a team behind us. The Flat Branch team is unbelievable. They're just amazing. We're getting things through underwriting really fast. And, we know what the underwriter wants, so we try and send a complete file when we send it to underwriting. So we're getting in and out of underwriting fast. My underwriters here want us to close loans as much as I want us to close loans. So they're helping us get to the closing table just like everybody else.
Well, guys, there you have it. If you have any need for a new loan, an existing loan, you want to refi, anything that you have that has to do with needing a loan, you have to go to Team Lasson. Guys, I really appreciate you coming on with me again on the LOZ Podcast Network. And always, you can find anything about Michelle and Michael, Team Lasson, in the LOZ app. Just go to Lenders, and they're right there. You can push one button and be talking to them in 1 second.
Thanks again, Ken. We appreciate the opportunity to be part of the LOZ.
All right, guys, and that's another edition of the LOZ Podcast Network. We will be right back after these words.